Future Folio has got a really important system in it which is called Actions. Now this is a really powerful feature that lets you control the page in response to events such as the user landing on the page, the user tapping on a specific object on the page. Let me show you what I'm talking about. We'll start a new document for digital publishing for iPad Portrait. There we are. Let's set it out as a basic page. Let's place an image to start off with. There we are, and let's put some text in as well. There we are. Bump it up a little bit. Okay, so we've got a really basic page here. Let's save it so we can do a build and call it Actions. There we are. And we're going to build to simulator. Over in our previewer here, let's choose Actions that we just built. And there we have it. We have a page, it has an image, it has some text. It's not very exciting. Now that image is quite small. That might be that's how you want it to look on your page. But what if the user wants to see that image in a bit more detail? This is where Actions come in. So let's go back to the plugin and let's select that object. And here you can see there's an entire Actions panel. And down here is the button we want. We want to add a new action to that object. And this is the dialog you're given, a new action dialog. You can see there's various parameters here. You get a list of actions, and we've currently got it set to show advanced actions as well. If you just want to do some basic stuff, you can untick that and you get a bit of a simpler list, a bit easier to pick from. There's a parameter box if the action that you choose needs some kind of other data to go with it. You can set a delay, so the user taps it and then after however many seconds that action happens. You can set how many times you want that action to happen and what sort of a delay you want in between each of those times that it happens. So we can set all those, leave all those as defaults because we don't want a delay, we only want it to happen once. We're going to choose zoom image. So let's add that, and you can see there's a little prompt here. We don't need to add any extra data to that. So we hit OK and let's do a build. Back in our simulator, same page, but now when the user taps on this image, it zooms in, goes full screen so that the user can see it in a little bit more detail. So that's a basic action. Now what I've done is I've created an example document to show you some of the more powerful actions that Future Folio can do. So let's go ahead and open that. Example actions. We'll build that to our simulator directory. And then over in the previewer, we will choose that issue, example actions. Here we have it, a basic page with a few images on it, but this time each of those images has been rigged up with an action. So let's tap on this first one. You can see that does a nice little flip to a different image. Tap on it again, and it flips back to the original image with a slightly different transition. This one here, you tap on it, it will bring up an email message, which is pre-populated with an email address. This one here, when you tap on it, it will bring up an internal web browser, which is pre-populated with a website, which in this case we've put in the Future Folio website. And this one, when you tap on it, it will bring up an image that was previously hidden. Now you may remember in an earlier tutorial we covered off the paint image type. When we painted on that, it just came up with a black colour. And we said that when we came to cover off actions, I'll show you how to set different paint colours. So that's what we've done here. So each of these is a separate image with an action on it of set paint colour. This one is blue, green, red, and yellow. So tapping on each of those does the set paint colour action with that appropriate colour as its parameter. So going back to InDesign, I'll show you how each of those is done. Let's shrink that down so you can see them side by side. And let's go to our Actions panel. So this first one, if you'll remember, did a flip transition to a different image. You can see here, transition, flip horizontal, and the parameter there is flip to. Now what that is a layer name. So this one that we're on here is flip 1. Flip 2 you can see is behind there. If we hide flip 1, it's the red image. And flip 2 has got flip vertical to flip 1. So you can see each one does a different flip transition to the other one. This one here brought up an email message. You can see our action there is send email, and the parameter was hello@futurefolio.co.uk, which is the email address that we saw pre-populated in that form that came up. And incidentally, that's also the email address that you'll need if you want to get in touch with any problems or questions that you might have. This image here loaded an internal web browser, so we have load URL internally, and we gave that an address of futurefolio.co.uk, and the HTTP is essential at this point as well. This one, when we tapped on it, it showed a hidden image at this position. You can see here that picture is called picture hidden, and our tap effect here is to show object picture hidden. So you can see again that goes off of layer names. Our paint here, each of our different paint colors has a set paint color action attached to it. And the data for each of those is the relevant color, so blue, green, red, and yellow. And the format of those colors is a hex color with a hash in front of it. I won't go through explaining that. You can Google it if you want to. It's an RGBA color, so red, green, blue, and alpha. So going back to our previewer, there's one other little thing that I've added to here. So I've added an action to this one, which is called Enable Physics. Now that sounds kind of cool, so let's tap on it and see what happens. Look at that, physics turns on, everything falls under gravity in a realistic manner. So what that's done, each of these objects in the object panel, I've ticked the dynamic object box, and all that means is, yeah, this is going to respond to dynamic effects such as physics. And then in our hidden picture, I added an action of Enable Physics. So all that's happened there is we've tapped on this, physics has been turned on, anything that had that enable dynamic object checkbox set will then behave under physics. So in this case, the accelerometer by default, everything has been set to respond to that. So as the user moves their iPad around, these objects will move around on the screen as if they're falling under gravity. We could change that effect, going back to here. If we change that to enable draggable objects, let's look at that. And let's do a quick build. This is another dynamic object effect. So anything that is set to respond to dynamic actions will respond to this. So we tap on this. Looks like nothing's happened, but if we try now dragging these around, the user can drag them wherever they want to on the page. And of course I didn't set it. Oh no, I did set it on that one. There we are. That's moving around. So that's just a few of the actions. You can see that there is a huge, great list of them. And it's just a case of play around with them, see what you can do. There's some really amazing stuff you can do with these, so have fun.